Very happy afternoon, students. Welcome to RJR Academy. I hope you are all safe and sound at home. Let us begin with this today's session, that is microbes and human welfare. Before we begin with this chapter, let us have the quick recap of all the things that we discussed in the previous episode. That is the first part of microbes and human welfare. We discussed about the historic, like the introductory part of the beneficial microorganisms that we discussed, where how like the microorganisms which plays important role in the food, in the feed, in industries, in vaccines, in ethanol production, in alcohol production, right, in the bakery industry, in case of beverages, distillation. So all these areas that we discussed in the previous part. We are about to complete the chapter by yesterday itself. Due to the running short of time, we couldn't complete this chapter by yesterday. So this is the continuation of the previous chapter, that is microbes and human welfare. Today we'll try to, is it audible? Today we try to complete this particular chapter, that is microbes and human welfare. We try to complete today. And what we're going to discuss today is like we discuss the continuation, that is sewage treatment plant, then biocontrol, then the remaining, the pending parts of the agricultural perspectives that we'll discuss, that is pest management. These are a little bit of areas that we're going to cover by today. Once we complete this particular chapter, that is microbes and human welfare, there is a pending part, that is like previous chapter, that is like human health and disease, that is drugs and drug abuse and adolescence. This particular area also we try to complete, because one particular question you get from the particular area, that is from adolescent, the drugs and opioids, cannabinoids, this area will get one question. So for that one, we're going to discuss the particular chapter once we complete the microbes and human welfare. So once we're done with this, we'll go with the next part. So I guess I already told you this is 1.5 hour session. So we try to complete this chapter just 10 minutes before for you. So the last 10 minutes for you guys, you can ask questions or any doubts that can be clarified. That is exclusively that is given for you for the last 10 minutes, so that you can make use of it. So guys, please try to minimize your questions in between, so that we'll try to complete this chapter by today. Okay. So once we're done this part, and tomorrow we'll start with the strategies in development of food production, like outbreeding, these are the inbreeding depression, all these things that we'll discuss by tomorrow. Okay. So we'll start with today's part, that is microbes and human welfare. We'll start with the sewage treatment plant. So far we discussed about the ethanol. In the last part we completed with the ethanol. Um, ethanol will complete. Guys, please ask the questions when it start. For example, I start taking the alcohol and the drug abuse. That time we can start asking the questions. Now we're going to discuss about microbes and human welfare. This can very well stops the deviation from the chapters. Okay, fine. Okay, can you hear my voice? Yes, is still my voice cracking for you? Ari Prakash, can you please check your connection? Okay. So we'll start with the next part, that is sewage treatment plant. Coming to sewage treatment plant, the sewage treatment STP, we call it as sewage treatment plant. This we call it as STP or sewage treatment plant. STP stands for sewage treatment plant. Come to the sewage treatment plant. The sewage treatment plant consists of three important stages. So as the stages we talk about, the sewage treatment plant, what are the three important stages? Primary, we have the secondary, and we have a tertiary treatment. These are the different three stages of treatment that you could see in case of sewage treatment plant, where the primary treatment can be also called as mechanical treatment. So primary can be also called as mechanical treatment. Secondary, this is also called as biological treatment. This is also called as biological treatment. Tertiary is a chemical treatment. So usually go with a chemical by adding the chlorination of water, that will do it, right? So primary treatment, secondary treatment, and we have the tertiary treatment. The primary, which is also called as mechanical, the secondary can also be called biological treatment, and tertiary can also be called as the chemical treatment. So what we're gonna do it in this okay. So as far as let me open the new slide itself for you, so that you can clear with this part. So sewage treatment plant, we have the primary and we have a tertiary. So primary, I told you, it's a mechanical. It is a mechanical. Secondary, we call it as biological treatment, and tertiary, we call it as a chemical treatment. This we call it as chemical treatment. So these are three different stages that are involved in the treatment of the sewage. So you know what is the sewage, right? So sewage, which is like the wastages which is coming to domestic sewage, or it is like commercial sewage, like even from the house, like from the industries, by the factories, the wastages which is coming out, like this should not be directly get inside the rivers or streams, because it will be like highly polluted actually. So in order to reduce the pollutants, this has to be first transferred to the sewage treatment plant. Then what happens, like from the sewage treatment plant, what happens, like this by means of the three treatments, like primary to secondary, secondary to tertiary, and then it will be more on the rivers and the streams actually. Okay, so now what we do in the primary treatment, we have the two mechanical treatments, say like filtration, and we have a sedimentation. So in filtration, what we're gonna do is, like we're gonna just filter all the twigs, the trees, the leaves, the plastic, maybe the cars and everything, right? So this must to be completely filled. This will be having the grits like chambers, will be having the grit like chambers. So what happens now, the sewage like will be allowed to pass on to this one. So what happens, all the twigs, the plastic covers, like all the things, like it seems to be like bigger in size, which will be like filtered in the filtration process. Is the first stage of the mechanical treatment. After this mechanical treatment, that is filtration, then the liquid part will be passed on to the next part, next chamber, that is called sedimentation. So sedimentation, what happens, like sedimentation will be allowing the sewage to stand for some time here. Then what happens here, the higher molecular weight particles which will be sedimented at the bottom. There is a low molecular, based on the molecular weight, like the particles which will start sedimented. So this is actually the function of the sedimentation. In sedimentation, the molecules will start sedimenting based on its molecular weight. After filtration, the liquid will be allowed to pass on to the sedimentation tank. In the sedimentation tank, what happens? The molecules, the particles which started like sedimenting based on its molecular weight. The higher molecular weight substances will start sedimented at the bottom, whereas the low molecular weight which will be there on the top. So this is the mechanical treatment. So we are not doing anything else, like in this case, in the filtration and sedimentation. The effluent which is coming, right? So after the sedimentation, so the sediment particles which will be there in the sedimentation tank itself, the remaining, the water part will be there, right? The water that will be taken out by means of the effluent, right? Now this effluent will be going to the secondary treatment or the biological treatment. Okay, so which type of waste is removed in the sedimentation? Actually categorized, like the type of waste. Usually the liquid part which shall be passed into the sedimentation tank, where like the grids, maybe like small maybe kind of pebbles, maybe small grids might be there. This grids of high molecular weight which usually get sedimented at the bottom, and the upper part we call it as actually the effluent which will be allowed to pass to the second stage of the treatment, that we call it as a biological treatment. Now the effluent will pass into the biological treatment. So what happens in the biological treatment here in this case? And before, we should understand what is the principle, the concept behind the sewage treatment plant. Sewage treatment plant where the water is separated. So what exactly we doing in the sewage treatment plant? So the water is getting separated, and now what happens? Like solid is also getting separated. So what is complex form will be converted to the simple form. This carbon dioxide, you take carbonate, nitrate, right? Carbon dioxide, you take nitrate, sulfates, carbon dioxide, sulfates. These are some of the simple substances. Okay, let me wait. I'll wait. Check. 1 second.